We have the current CIA chief, then top official in the Obama administration, meeting 3 times with this guy who was a convicted sex offender. Boy, isn't that interesting? There was another big story this week that I think is interesting, and I don't want to overstate how interesting it is, but it's interesting enough for me to share. And it was a Wall Street Journal report this week that was really quite extraordinary. Evidently, they got a hold of Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein's private calendars, and they show what looks to me a lot of unusual meetings with some very interesting people. The nation's spy chief, the story opens, a longtime college president, and top women in finance. The circle of people who associated with Jeffrey Epstein years after he was a convicted sex offender is wider than previously reported. Now, first up, of great interest, is William Burns, who is currently the CIA director as appointed by Joe Biden. He's been there since 2021, since the beginning of the administration, and he was Deputy Secretary of State under Obama. And while he was there, according to these documents, he met with Epstein, it looks like 3 times, including at his townhouse in Manhattan. Isn't that interesting? Catherine Rumler, a White House counsel under Barack Obama, so she was the top lawyer for the Obama White House, had dozens of meetings with Epstein in the years after her White House service and before she became a top lawyer at Goldman Sachs. Leo Bostine, the president of Bard College, an influential big college there, invited Epstein, who brought a group of young female guests to the campus. So they were trying to raise money from him at Bard College. And of course, you know, none of these names are supposedly in the black book or the list of people who flew to his island, right? But the unusual visits here, I think, are striking. And we have the current CIA chief, then top official in the Obama administration, meeting 3 times with this guy who was a convicted sex offender. Boy, isn't that interesting? I can't imagine what the heck was going on there, or maybe I can, which is even more disturbing. And the White House counsel lawyer, the former lawyer, I mean, she was meeting with him pretty regularly. Very unusual. What's interesting about Rumler is that she says, or I don't know if she says it, but the Wall Street Journal reports that she first met, again, this is Obama's top lawyer at the White House after she left the White House, first met Epstein after he called her to ask if she would be interested in representing Mr. Gates and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the Goldman Sachs spokesman said. So I guess it's Goldman Sachs who admitted this. A spokeswoman for Mr. Gates and Epstein said Epstein never worked for Mr. Gates, misrepresented their relationship, but that Mr. Gates regrets ever meeting with him. And as you may know, the reports are that his family was unhappy with him over Gates' meetings with Epstein. Epstein and his staff discussed whether Ms. Rumler, now 52, would be uncomfortable with the presence of young women who worked as assistants and staffers at the townhouse. Women emailed Epstein on 2 occasions to ask if they should avoid the home while she was there. Epstein told one of the women he didn't want her around and another one that it wasn't a problem. Rumler didn't see anything that would lead her to be concerned at the townhouse and didn't express any concern, the Goldman Sachs people said. The other interesting person who met with Epstein, according to these new calendars, is Ariane de Rothschild, who is now chief executive of the Swiss private bank Edmond de Rothschild Group. The bank hired Miss Rumler's law firm after the introduction to help with U.S. regulatory matters, according to the bank and the Goldman Sachs spokesman. So you had this connection between Rumler, Rumler, the Rothschild Bank, and Epstein. Now, Epstein's meetings with Rothschild were denied initially by the bank, and in fact, that was a lie. This is what they said. The bank acknowledged to the Journal that its earlier statement wasn't accurate. that Miss Rothschild never met with Epstein and had no business links with him. Well, she did have business links with him and did meet with him. So to me, this all explains something. You know, people have asked, why hasn't the government seemed very interested in investigating, given the nature of what Epstein was doing, the folks around Epstein, who were likely to have been involved with him and may have seen something untoward or participated in something untoward with young women. Well, this helps explain it. So some of the folks implicated, other than, you know, the Clinton gang as usual, are folks from the Obama gang, including Biden's current CIA chief and Obama's top White House lawyer. So it certainly helps explain to me why there's seemingly lack of interest in what Epstein was up to and who he was dealing with. And kudos to the Wall Street Journal for getting these calendars. Judicial Watch is looking into other issues related to Epstein. You can be sure we'll report to you if we're able to find anything or if we do anything substantively, legally, to try to find something. But these are very interesting calendars. I encourage you to go and look up the story about it. We'll provide a link. But now the CIA director is implicated in the Jeffrey Epstein scandals. There has to be some investigations of that, and you can be sure Judicial Watch will be in on it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and like our video down below.